Hello, good afternoon. My favorite thing about getting paid on results is that as you get better at the job, it takes less time and you earn more, which is really cool. And for me personally, what started as a part-time job has turned into a career that's allowed me to travel the world, provide for my family, and develop personally, professionally, financially, even spiritually, in a lot of ways of learning to trust the process. And I want to say congratulations on receiving this video. If you're watching this, it means you already have some solid results. You have a solid sales ratio and you're ready to continue to grow. My objective of this video is to show you some keys to increasing your average sale size. And in your advanced training, we talk about two truths. Truth number one, anyone that's over 30 and working can afford at least something Cutco makes. We talk about the example of trimmers about $80. That's about $40 a month on a two-pay. That's about $10 a week out of a weekly budget. If someone makes minimum wage, which in Florida is $10 an hour at the time, that costs them an hour's worth of work out of an entire week to be able to afford that trimmer. I'm not saying go show people that make minimum wage, but if they can afford it making minimum wage, then anyone that's working can afford it, assuming they see value. Number two is the values there. Everyone should buy Cutco. When you compare how much like a dinner and a movie cost, or a pair of running shoes, or some concert or football game tickets, for things that are here today, gone tomorrow, it really puts into perspective the value of something that someone can buy once, use every day, and last forever. The Homemaker Plus 8, even over just a 10-year span, costs less than Netflix. Netflix is $180 a year, $15 a month, $180 a year. For 10 years, that's 1,800 versus a Homemaker is about $400 less than that. So everyone should buy Cutco. One other truth to raising your average order, and if you've seen Cutco owners, you already know this. There's a difference between knowing it and really being convicted in it. And it's that the more Cutco someone has, the more they're going to love their purchase. Obviously, someone who has no Cutco versus someone who has a piece or two, that piece or two, they're going to enjoy it more. And if you have one or two knives you use for everything, they get beat up quicker. We sharpen, but still they wear down quicker. If you use the wrong knife for the wrong job, it can even be dangerous. And it's just not the same. That would be like having one good pair of shoes. Like if you had one good pair of tennis shoes, like yeah, they work great, but if you wear them to like a wedding or to church or to the beach, like even though they might be great shoes, they might not be great for that event. Now, someone who has like multiple pieces will get more value out of it. They'll be happier. Someone who has a block set, they're going to be happier. Even the essentials, it's called that for a reason. You got a vegetable chopping knife, you got a meat knife, you got a serving piece, you got a paring knife, you got a spatula spreader. That's an awesome set for someone who just like maybe they're older, they don't cook that much anymore, or maybe they're just trying to scrape by in the kitchen, they're single, whatever. Now, if someone has a family or they cook it all, they're going to be happier with like a galley or a homemaker than essentials because you get things like the bread knife, you get things like the butcher knife, right? You get a trimmer. The Essentials doesn't have the trimmer. It's like the best, the most versatile piece we make. Now, if someone really likes to cook, they're going to be happier with a Signature than a Homemaker. If someone loves to cook, they're going to be happier with an Ultimate than a Signature. And if someone really, loves Cutco, they're going to be happier not just with the knives, but with the knives, the cookware, the flatware, the gadgets, the kitchen tools, the cutting boards, all that kind of stuff. I just met with a lady today. She had her galley for 25 years. When she found out we made cookware, she wanted cookware, flatware, gadgets. It was so easy to build up her wish list and write up an order because she already knew the quality of the product. So here's two keys to raising your average sale size. Key number one is focusing on the payment options. In theory, everyone should do a payment option because it's interest free. You might as well. And people budget monthly. Netflix costs $180 a year. And if they charged $180 a year for it versus $15 a month, less people would subscribe. Charging $14.99 a month seems like nothing. Same thing, a customer who pays in full for like a $400 order or a $300 order, that person can get a homemaker and extra accessories, pay less today, and get a better bang for their buck. So it just makes sense to do the payment options. The second key to raising your average order, and this is simple, and it's very easy to implement. It's also easy not to implement. meaning the bigger list you start with, the bigger you're going to finish. Um, something simple like you sometimes will have a customer and at the end they're like, oh yeah, I like that, but hey, maybe in a few months I'll add that to my order. Well, if they show that kind of interest, I at least want to quote them the price of what it would be to get it today with what they're already getting, because I get a bigger sale, they get a better deal, and it's not like Cutco expires. So getting it now versus a couple months, they just have longer to use it. So an easy way to add more stuff to someone's order is to build what's called a wish list. So when to do this wish list, you can really do it in two different spots. I would recommend doing this on every single presentation you do, regardless of the outcome. It is a little more advanced, which is why we don't teach this concept in training, because the purpose of training is just to get someone to just do a proper demonstration. But this is an easy build up and a way to personalize your drop down. So um, with the wish list, there's really two places you can implement it. One is after a customer picks their set. So say I'm with a customer, they're like, I want to get this galley set here. You're like, perfect, Miss Jones. Hey, before I write up that galley, I want to show you everything else we make, and we're just going to make a wish list. Not necessarily everything you want to get today, just everything that if you had it, you would use it, because since you're already getting a set today, if you bundled other stuff with it, I can save you a little bit, and you'd be getting a little bit better bang for your buck. Plus, doing it on the 5-pay, it doesn't increase it that much more. I mean, just an example, if someone likes the fishing knife, for like someone as a gift, for an extra 20 bucks a day, they can add that fishing knife to their order. Cost them next to nothing, same as they pay for like a pizza, and you get an extra 100 CPO on your order. You could also do it um, as an alternative to just showing pieces. I'm going to show you option number 2 because I feel that's an easier way to increase your average order, turn those 1 knives into 3 and 4 knife sales, and those 2 and 3 knife sales, and like 5 and 6 piece orders. But after the set, it'd be the same thing. So the way you do the wish list, the way you introduce it, put this in green because it's going to make you a lot of money. I'll say, Mrs. Jones, what we are going to do is make a wish list. This isn't stuff you're definitely getting today. It's just things that if you had it, you would use it. And there's 3 steps to this if you're doing it as pieces. So step number 1, getting their favorite pieces. So let's go here. Let's say we're on the demo. We're on this slide right here. We're like, where it would say you can customize your own set, this is where you would introduce it. Ms. Jones, we're going to make you a wish list, not necessarily everything you want to get today, just everything if you had it, you would use. And let's say they like the paring knife, the trimmer, and the spatula. Let's say they pick those 3 pieces. That $230 order, 79 bucks on a 3-pay. And if you come down here and click order advisor, it'll show you some things that they could get for free. So they could get like something small. And hey, nothing wrong with selling those 3 pieces, right? I've definitely had customers that have bought smaller orders than that for me. That being said, when I get those 3 pieces in my mind, it's like, okay, I'm at least selling that because those are their favorites. But I don't want to start there, because remember, if you start higher, you can end higher. If I start there and they say no, that the next thing I drop down to is like a piece or two, just hard to build up from that. So step 2 would be use questions to add additional pieces. So it might go something like this. Like, hey, Ms. Jones, I know that you mentioned you like that chef's knife in the video. If you had that chef's knife, would you use it? Maybe. Okay, cool. Let's throw it on there. We can always take it off. That's a great phrase. Hey, let's throw it on there. We can always take it off. And let's say they add on a chef's knife. And let's say they add on like some table knives, right? And say they're like, oh, the cheese knife's kind of cool. Well, now we've taken a $300 wish list to $600. Like, even if I give them something for free off this, like, even if I give them like the cheese knife for free, which is one of the more expensive ones, that's still a higher CPO than our original dollar amount. And check this out, on the 5Pay, it's about $100 a month. Like, it's really not that much difference in their payments. But again, the higher you start, the higher you're going to finish. I'm not going to necessarily start there either. So before I quote prices, the big switch is, before you try to sell just a few knives, show the accessories as well, because sometimes there's an accessory that they like even better than the knives, and that gives you a big bargaining chip. So step 3 is to show accessories, and now you're ready to cover prices. And the way you cover prices is, Michonne's, I'm going to give you 2 prices. The first is the retail price if you bought it later. So Ms. Jones, you can always buy Cutco. You can go to cutco.com and buy Cutco. If you buy from cutco.com, you're paying the retail price, which we sell it at that every single day. Number 2, you reshare your goal. Or I should say reshare your why, right? So since you're meeting with me and I'm using this to save for a car, or I'm using this to pay my way through school, or I'm competing in this sales contest, or I'm in my fast start contest, right? Since and you remind them of why you're working with Cutco, since I'm working on the scholarship, the second price is the deal I can do today. And when you cover prices, it's always, normally it's number, number, number. Today, it's only number, number. And you, on a 5Pay, it's only number. How does that sound? Okay, so showing you how that looks like. Let's just keep going with the same order here. Let's say they added on, say they kind of like the fishing knife. Let's say they like the shears maybe. And then let's say they liked, what we got here? Let's say like a couple cutting boards. Okay. The best way to cover prices is using the divide by 5. Because if you notice, you go to 20%, that keeps you in the orange. So I just divide by 5. So 986 or 896, which is the price, divided by 5 is 179. So I can comfortably give them about $179 in stuff for free. The table knives right here are 180, so that's a perfect example. So Ms. Jones, normally this would be 900. Today we can do it for only 716. My wife's calling me. And you can do that over 5 months for 145. And if you look at this on the demo, so I like to show prices on slide 16 always. Show the pricing here. If you show this on the demo, I like to itemize it. So you're getting your paring knife, your trimmer, your spreader, petite chef, your 4-piece table knife, your fisherman solution, your shears, all 3 cutting boards. Then normally it'd be 900. So that would be if you bought it like piece by piece from Cutco. Since this helps me out towards my fast start contest, it's only 716 today. And you can do that over 5 payments of 145 interest free. How does that sound? Smile not, right? And if they say yes, awesome. If not, the next question is you just knock 1 or 2 things off. So, hey, what's not as important right now? And let's say they're like, well, I don't know necessarily if I need all 3 cutting boards. I really like the medium, and the fishing knife was just a gift, so we can take that off. What would that be? Well, again, now we're still at 700, better than 3, right? So you just take the same thing, 726 divided by 5, 145. And if it's close, it's okay. So here you could either give like the shears or the chef's knife. I usually don't like giving away more free stuff than I need to, so I'll do the shears. Notice the thumbprint goes orange there. We'll update the wish list here. Ms. Jones, normally 726. Today it's 597. You can do that on 5 payments of 121. How does that sound? Dude, that's a strong order right there. It's a 436 CPO. That's still a bigger CPO than if they just bought the two things or the three things at the beginning. And you just keep dropping down. Let's say they're like, oh, I don't really like the shears, but I really like, um, let's just say they just did the four, right? Now, instead of the three knives they picked out before, now you're still to buy three, get one free. You do this. Paring knife, trimmer, spreader, petite chef. Normally this, 385. We can do it for 106. How does that sound? Bada bing, bada boom. So just to review, when you're building the wish list, one, understand you want to get the customer as much Cutco as possible at a price they feel good about. Better bang for your buck, works better. That's a win for them. Bigger sale, it's a win for you. That's always the goal. So always build a wish list. And by not just getting their favorites, but pointing out things that you thought they liked and showing the accessories gets it bigger. And then lastly, just drop down slow, right? You want, a good drop down goes from like the popular sets around that $600-700 range. So usually with customizing, I like to get it around there, around like the first option shows around 700, then around like 400 or 500, then around like 200 or 300, and then you can keep working it slowly, and you're going to end up with a bigger order. So to wrap up, Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "There's nothing great ever happened without enthusiasm." Skills are important, and that's what we covered in this video. Also, mindset's important. Belief. Two things. One, just believe in yourself. You can do this. Regardless of where you are watching this video, I can point you to people who've crushed it at this job in the same situation as you. Maybe you're introverted, maybe you're extroverted, but maybe you could use a confidence boost, or maybe you don't come from the best circles, or maybe you're an immigrant, or maybe you've got maybe this is the most challenging thing you've ever dealt with in your life, right? Because life's been pretty easy for you so far. All of those things are okay, but understand there's ways to grow here. Whenever you have something that was a challenge and you overcome it, you become better. So belief in yourself, you can do this. And two, belief in your product. Cutco is an awesome product, guaranteed forever, made in America. People are going to love it. And those of you that have seen people that own Cutco, you already know what I'm talking about. The answers are out there. Let's be great, and happy selling.